Whoopee! Hello. But I had time to get it before the camera started. I am here with my Dreams and Miracles book by Anne Spangler. I haven't read you guys a story in a while, so I thought, hey, why not read one today? And let's see what we got. There's hair everywhere. It's falling out. I'm gonna go bald. Alright. We don't got too many more stories left in this book, guys. Today's story is by Sharon Rogers, and these are all true stories, by the way. Dreaming of Mentors by Sharon Rogers. As always, I will start off by reading you the introduction. Sharon holds an M.A. in Christian education from the United Theology Seminary. A newspaper columnist, author, and mother of 2 school-aged children, she describes herself as a homemaker, a writer, and a juggler in training. In the last few years, she has had dreams that forewarned her of the deaths of 2 important women in her life. Now let's get into Sharon's story. I can still feel soft pink cheeks rubbing silk-like against my own as Grandma gathered me into her arms and held me tight. No matter what I did, no matter what happened, I knew those loving arms were as firm and real as mountains surrounding a city. No child, I believed, could ever be in danger with such love encircling her. But now the mountains were trembling. Those strong arms had become weak with age and illness, and I was away at college, wishing I were home beside her. One day, during a break between classes, I began to feel uncomfortable and irritable, as though life were slightly out of kilter. I headed to my room, hoping for a cat nap to ease the tension. I slept for about 10 minutes and had a simple dream. Nothing much happened. I saw a clock, whose hands moved slightly as I watched. Then I said to myself, is it over? And peace is restored? I woke up grateful that my frustration had disappeared. Later that day, I visited an elderly woman from the church I attended, who wasn't well enough to leave home. As I read from the scriptures to comfort her, I had the strange feeling my grandmother was nearby. Count it pure joy, my brothers, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith develops perseverance. Perseverance must finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. As soon as I turned my doorroom, I received a message to call home. In that instant, I knew I would never feel those loving arms around me again, this side of heaven. Sure enough, my grandmother had passed that very day. The clock in my dream had symbolized the moment of her passing. The words of the Bible, count it pure joy, had been meant for me as well as for the elderly friend I had visited earlier that day. Hard as it was to lose someone so dear, I felt at peace. This woman who had loved me so lavishingly was now cradled in the arms of God Himself. I knew she was well. Sometime later, I had another dream on St. Patrick's Day, 1994. It concerned Colleen O'Brien, a person more proud of her Irish blood than anyone I had ever met. A woman of fierce loyalties and strong habits. She was a nurse who knew better than to smoke, but did anyway. Whenever she ran out of cigarettes, she simply borrowed a few of her husband's small cigars. A capable woman who loved her husband and her children. She was like a mother to me. I had known Colleen was ill, but hadn't an inkling of how serious her condition was until my St. Patrick's Day dream. In my dream, I walked into a house that was more like a daycare center than a normal home. Children were everywhere, active and noisy. They were obviously well cared for. Just as when my grandmother had died, I felt a sense of discomfort, but this time it was in a dream. I moved from room to room, trying without success to find a quiet, comfortable place in the midst of chaos. Then I saw Colleen O'Brien, dressed in a pastel blue skirt with a white Victorian high-neck blouse. Her hair was tucked into a lovely twist. A soft white glow surrounded her. I couldn't see her face, but we recognized each other. She was calm and serene, the exact opposite of everyone else in that house. I watched in silence for a moment as she finished a small sewing project she had on her lap. Mesmerized by her calm, I was aware of the contrast with my own anxiety. "So why are we here?" I asked. "You must say goodbye to me." I was floored because I knew exactly what she meant. This woman I esteemed so highly she was about to die. I felt frustrated, saddened, and lost. "But wait," I started to say. "Look at all these noisy children, and the house is so cluttered." Colleen simply replied, "There's really nothing here worth worrying over. Think about what they present, the children. Think about what this means. I am well. I am at peace." But I didn't know what she meant. Then my best friend Janet walked up beside me and said, "You've missed a point here. You're too literal. Come with me." So we left the noisy house and walked through a gorgeous green field, as peaceful as the house had been chaotic. My frustration vanished and the dream ended. Later that day, I learned just how ill Colleen was. Not long afterward, I attended her funeral. Colleen O'Brien has been gone for a while now, but I still remember as she appeared in my dream, the soft white glow and the high-neck sleeved blouse, hair folded neatly behind her head. She was the image of feminine wisdom, peace, and tradition. As I have thought about the dream, I realized that Colleen, like my mother and my grandmother, was a woman who showed me what it means to hold in my hands the deep responsibilities of home, husband, children, work, and community. In my dream, the house symbolized my own anxieties as the mother of 2 young children and as a woman who at times feels overwhelmed by her roles as writer, homemaker, and juggler par excellence. I was searching for the peace and tranquility that Colleen had already achieved. Since then, I have come to realize that I don't have to figure out how to handle everything entirely on my own. I am linked to women of past generations who have successfully navigated this territory before me. Though smoking cigars and an occasional cigarette will never be part of my repertoire, I hope I can learn to live the wisdom of Colleen O'Brien well enough to pass it on to my daughter's generation. Perhaps someday my face will glow with an inner serenity, and I will be able to echo Colleen's words. "There's really nothing here worth worrying over." And that was Sharon Rogers' story, Dreaming of Mentors. I hope you guys enjoyed Sharon's story, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. Bye, guys. God bless.